Morning, everybody. Monday morning. Time to get at it. So let's go ahead and start. We'll give people another minute or so. I don't think it's officially 7, according to my phone. So you get an extra little warm up here. I'll have to go over this again, but got a little bit of a different workout for you. We have 2 portions in the main set. So the first portion of the main set is 4 sets broken into 40 seconds really hard and then a minute 20 easy. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer. It's about a 43-minute workout. So I hit stop. All right. Officially, here we go. Warm up is 9 minutes. Start in a really easy gear, unless you were riding before I came on. Nice easy gear for about a minute, and then you can just switch one gear harder every minute, 2 minutes, until you get up to a nice, comfortable cycling effort. So we just want to slowly build up from easy to aerobic. And I realize my fan's not on, so as soon as I start sweating, I'm going to hop off, turn my fan on. After 9 minutes of warm up, we're going to go into just 3 sets of 30 seconds, high cadence, 30 seconds recovery, and then we'll go into the main set. So main set's broken into 2 blocks. Each of those blocks has 4 sets. First one is 40 seconds, very hard. So we're going to start off in the big chain ring and then get our cadence up, quickly switch gears to a hard gear to turn over. We want this effort to be very hard. It's only 40 seconds, so it's going to go by quick. Plus, it's going to take 10 seconds to really get to that hard gear. And then a minute and 20 to recover. Okay. So this is what they'll call like VO2 work. This is like way above your threshold, which you can hold for a good 40 minutes, hour. Way above any kind of race pace. It's a sort of like explosion building. So it'll create some stronger muscles that you can use in your regular cycling. Make sure when you do these 40 seconds that you really work on good form and really drive your legs from your glutes. So it's a really great time to work on pulling back at the pedal stroke and coming over the top, as opposed to just pushing down from 12 to 3. So if you haven't already, go ahead and switch to a little bit harder gear so we can start ramping up from easy to that moderate effort. Okay, so that's the first part of the main set. Second part of the main set, also 4 sets. It's a little more complicated. We're doing 2 minutes at, moderately hard, maybe a little bit touch below moderately hard. So kind of like mildly uncomfortable. And then right after that 2 minutes, we're going to go into a minute harder, more like, so the first one's 2 minutes, like 80% of FTP if you have power. After 2 minutes, we go to 1 minute where it's like 95% FTP. So it's maybe just a touch below what hard feels like. Should definitely be uncomfortable. You should also have to switch gears, because riding right now, the only way to really make it harder is to switch gears. So probably even like maybe 2, maybe 3 gear changes. And we're going to stay there for a minute. And then we're going to do a minute and 30 easy. So those are blocks of 4.5 minutes. So all told, that'll be 18 minutes. So the first set of 4 is 8 minutes long with most of that recovery. The second set is 18 minutes long, and 12 of those minutes are work minutes. Okay. Then after that, it's 5-minute cool down. So the whole workout's 43 minutes. So a little, I remember, I think last Monday we went 45. Go ahead, and if your cadence is low, bring up your cadence. That'll increase your warm up. I am going to hop off real quick and turn on my fan, but you keep riding. Oh, yeah, so much better. One thing too, for those of you joining and or watching this later, you can do all this stuff out on the road. Sometimes you can alternate the rest periods and maybe make them a little longer. Oh, and I say that in terms of, like, let's say you have a work period coming up, but there's a stop sign, quarter mile up the road. Sometimes you might be better off to wait till you go through that stop sign to start your work period, because you have a clean road ahead of you where you don't have to stop. But it's definitely great to do work efforts out on the road as opposed to just cycling at one pace. That's one of the things, the traps that we fall into, especially if we're out riding with friends. We go out and we start riding, we start talking, and everything is done at this maybe just slightly above conversational pace. And because of that, we don't really have much improvement in our cycling. It's because we need to spend more time at these harder efforts, because that's what will really boost our performance. And so a lot of times when I'm riding with a group, I'll set up a workout. We go like 4 by 5 minutes, where we do our best sustained pace, 5 minutes recovery. So everybody goes, that hard for 5 minutes. And then after 5 minutes, you come back together. So if you're at the front of the group, you can either start pedaling really easily, or if you put a big gap on the people behind you, you could flip around and pedal softly back to the group, and then turn around again. Always, of course, making sure it's safe before you just flip around in the road. But that way, in the recovery period, you can talk to one another. You can have a conversation. As soon as the next work period comes up, you can do your work period, come back to that conversation. And you get a great ride in that way. And then that way too, everybody on the ride gets the ride that's appropriate for them. And then everybody also has a social aspect to it, because in the recovery periods, you're talking, you're being social. In the work periods, everyone's doing the work that's appropriate to them. Okay. So just a little tip there, taking it out on the road. If you're not feeling more warmed up, definitely switch to a harder gear. Make sure your cadence is up. That'll getting that cadence up in a slightly harder gear will increase your intensity, increase your workload, bring up your warm up. We got about 1 minute 10 of warm up. And then we have 3 by 30 seconds, high cadence, 30 seconds easy. So that's really a continuation of warm up. And then we're into the main set. And before you know it, you'll be done. Have a nice solid workout under you. It's supposed to be a beautiful day in Seattle, so go for a walk, go for a run. Green Lake last week was up to 56 degrees. So I think that maybe next week, probably not this week, I might give it a test swim, see how bad it is. Usually if they can get to 58, it's cold but not miserable. All right, coming up, we're gonna go in like 15 seconds. We're gonna go 30 seconds higher cadence. So think about what gear you want to be in. Okay, ready? We're going 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. High cadence. I'll tell you really quickly, I was doing these high cadence drills out on the road, and I noticed that my cadence was higher on the road. So I don't know if that's just a matter of it's takes a little bit to get that cadence up, or because I'm using average cadence in here, and on the road I was using real cadence. Okay, 30 seconds easy. But the reason I bring that up is it's good if you notice what your cadence is when we do these drills, and maybe next time you're out on a bike ride and you're towards the end of your warm-up, do some 30-second high cadence and see if your cadence goes up higher than it does on the trainer. I would definitely be curious to see what your experience is. Okay, going 3, 2, 1, ready? Number 2. And then also when you're out on the road, doing a few of these then helps kind of bring up your typical riding cadence. Here's the deal, the higher cadence you can spin in harder gears, the faster you go. All right, 30 seconds easy. So next week, I have a workout design that's going to be kind of similar to this one, but we're going to approach it differently. It's a mixed intensity, but we're going to do it by starting in a gear, big chain ring, 3 gears from the easy side of your cog set, and then each minute shift 1 gear harder. And if you keep your cadence at the same rate and you have speed on, you'll see your speed goes up a half a mile an hour every gear change. Okay, here we go, last one. And you'll also notice when you switch gears, if your cadence drops, then your speed will stay the same. So the way to become a faster cyclist is to work on keeping your cadence while riding in harder gears. That's basically what it boils down to keep it simplified. All right, ready, 2, 1, easy. All right, 30 seconds easy. So find an easy gear, but be in the big chain ring. So like a good place to start would be big chain ring. But if you look back at your cog set, not the easiest gear, not the next easiest gear, because that's what we call being cross-trained, but then the third one. That's a good place to get right now. As soon as we hit go, you're going to just get your cadence up and start shifting to a hard gear, and it's only going to be 40 seconds. Okay, ready? Here we go. And in these hard gears, your cadence is probably going to be lower, maybe like below 80, and that's okay, because we want a lot of tension in the pedals and the legs and working really hard. Now certainly bring up your cadence if you can, or you can switch to a harder gear. But this is about power. 8 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, and relax. So you can see that was hard, but also got over pretty quick, right? Whew. So now you can go into small chain ring if you want nice, easy recovery. When we get to like a minute recovery, we'll have 20 seconds left recovery. So we'll go into the big chain ring. And the only reason I'm doing that is so that you can get to the harder gears faster. So on something like this, your heart rate's going to be less valuable of an indicator because there's what's called heart rate lag. Takes 20, 30 seconds for your heart rate to actually register what your true intensity is. So there's this lag period. So you might notice with your heart rate, let's get in the big chain ring, easy gear. You might notice that your heart rate it doesn't quite get up to what it actually feels like. Yeah, we're gonna go in 5 seconds. I screwed up my clock. Okay, here we go. 40 seconds. Cadence up. Tough gear. Pull through the bottom of the pedal stroke. Push your butt in the seat. 10 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1, and easy. Finish down. 2 down. So small chain ring. Let your legs come back from that. Very little tension in the pedal stroke. Spin circles through the bottom of the pedal stroke over the top. Avoid putting your effort on the downward pedal stroke. Get some hydration. Tail off. All right, here comes number 3. So then keep in mind on the next block of 4, the intensity is going to be a lot less. So if this feels hard, that's good. We're going to go a little bit longer on the duration, but bring down the intensity. So let's get into the big chain ring now. Easy gear. Going in 10 seconds. As soon as we go, get that cadence up, get into a hard gear, and just grind it out. Ready? Here we go. 40 seconds. So it takes me about 7 seconds to really get to that one gear. So normally my cadence is 88, 90. Right now it's like 80. Seconds. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Nice and easy. Small chain ring. Nice job. One more. So next week's will be different because we'll like a minute and then boom. One gear harder. So the intensity will just slowly ratchet up. And then the first block will start in kind of an easier gear, and then you can evaluate how it feels. And if you want to go harder on the next block, pay attention to what gear you started in, and we'll begin in one gear harder so that we end up in a harder gear overall. So every gear will be a little harder than the one before it. All right, we got one more. 40 seconds hard, minute 20 easy. Okay, so go ahead and get in the big chain ring. Get into an easy gear. So you don't ever want to be in the big chain ring and then the very easiest gear back. That's called cross-chained, and it puts a lot of tension on the chain unnecessarily. Okay, we're going on 2 seconds. Ready? Bring your cadence up. Here we go. Might start to feel fatigue in your legs. It's almost like doing strength training on the bike. 10 seconds. It's also similar like hill climbing. Ready? Recover. Whew. So a good way to simulate this stuff out on the road would be climbing hills. You know, because as soon as you go uphill, it really forces that lower cadence, harder power, right? All right, so we get another, 50 seconds. And then we're going to jump into the second block of 4 sets. 2 minutes, kind of right, mildly uncomfortable. 1 minute harder than that. So it's going to be at least 1 gear change, probably 2, maybe 3. So if you can, start in the big chain ring, but in an easier gear, and you can maybe switch 1 or 2. That way it gives you 3 or 4 or 5 gears to get into that harder gear. So 2 mildly uncomfortable, 1 harder, just below like hard, and then 1 minute 30 easy. Okay, you guys ready? Turn up your music if you need to. All right, here we go. 2 minutes, pretty mildly, solidly uncomfortable, but not hard. Definitely would like to see your cadence up around 90 here. This is going to be right at that place where breathing starts to become labored, but you probably should still be able to get out like 3 to 4 words. When we go up to the next minute, 1 word, 2 words before. You can see even right now while I'm talking, I have to take more pause, more breath between stringing my words together. So if you're at home and you want to check that, just start talking. Nobody can hear you. Unless anyone's in the house and they'll think you're crazy. Relax your shoulders. So we got 30 seconds here. Then we go to 1 minute harder. We can start off with 1 gear change. See how that feels. Going in 5 seconds. Ready? Here we go. Five seconds left. Ten seconds. 2, 1. Okay, shift a couple gears easier. Go on the small chain ring. Find a good rhythm on your pedal stroke where there's very little tension. Just spinning it out. Nice job. So at the very least, you should notice that third minute is harder than the first two, right? You should definitely notice, I call it a gear change. In cycling, that actually makes a lot of sense because you have to switch gears to get there. I like to take that metaphor and that feeling into running. So that threshold workout that I have is very much the same. It's all about shifting gears, going from 10K pace to 5K pace. In my mind, I'm always like visualizing driving a stick shift and shifting gears, but maybe I should visualize riding a bike and shifting gears. Either way, the mechanical objects, it's easy to see how you shift a gear and you go harder. It gets harder, you go faster. Okay, we're going 15 seconds. So start thinking about what gear you want to be in to start, and then get in like 1 or 2 gears easier. And then when we start, you can go, okay, here we go. 2 minutes, kind of mildly middle of the road uncomfortable. Get your cadence up first. And then if it feels too easy, switch 1 or 2 gears harder. Keep your cadence up. Spin with good pedal form. If you need some hydration, it's a good time to get it before it starts getting too hard. If you have metrics on your computer, that's great. Otherwise, it's all perceived exertion. Think about how hard it feels. Think about trying to talk and have your conversation be broken. If you're getting too many words out, like I appear to be right now, go a little harder. Tell you one thing, time goes by so much quicker this way. I'm not a trainer rather than just riding. All right, we got 25 seconds left in this 2-minute block. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 1 minute. At least 1 gear change. If it gets hard and you need to stand up, you can do that. Sometimes it makes turning the pedals over a little easier. If you need to go harder, change another gear. If your cadence has dropped too low, maybe bring it back in easy gear and bring your cadence up. Shot. Coming up on 10 seconds left. Dig in. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, recover. Whew. Man, I can really feel the build up of fatigue in my legs. These type of workouts consistently will make you a stronger cyclist. All right, we got 45 seconds rest. Make sure you're legs are spinning nice and freely. Very little tension. 2 down, 2 left. 6 more minutes of work. We're on in 15 seconds, so start to think about what gear you want to be in. Still have it be easy. Grab some water, going in 8 seconds. 5, 4, 3, ready. All right, 2 minutes, let's go. Nice job. 1 minute down. Get right in that mild to uncomfortable zone. All right, got 10 seconds left. Then we go a minute harder. 3, 2, ready, 1 minute hard. Harder, just below hard. Definitely below, well below those 40 seconds that we did earlier. So a lot of times I'll stand up like that because that'll get my cadence up. Then when I sit down, stay in the same gear. Turn the pedals over. 30 seconds, come on. Five. All right, recover. Whew. Man. If you're not sweating, you should be. One more. Who's happy? He'll only have one more. So for myself, I noticed something. I have my power numbers written down for what I want to hit on those 2 minutes and then 1 minute, which is helpful because it can help me see that it's low and push harder. On the 1 minute, I noticed that my cadence was 83 because when you have lower cadence, push a harder gear, you can drive more power. So my challenge for myself is to get my power up with a higher cadence. And you can do it. You just go easier gear. It's still hard because your cadence is faster. So you're still producing the same amount of power, even though you're in an easier gear. So those two, combination of your gearing, your cadence, which gear you're in, and your cadence will determine your intensity and your speed. So with that, I gave you an extra 10 seconds to recover. Let's get into the gear you want to get in. Now you have 20 seconds extra. My gift to you. All right, here we go. Last one. 2 minutes. So back to my challenges. And if you have these metrics, you can look at them yourself, like whether it's heart rate or cadence. But so part of my challenge is to hit my number on the first 2 minutes, because if I'm low on it, it would definitely make the last minute easier. But I don't want it to be easier. I just want it to hit my goal. And I want to do it differently than I did last time. Last time I hit my goal with a cadence of 83 and then was riding in a harder gear. So now I want to hit my goal with the cadence around 88, 90. And then just choose the gear that I need to choose. I know it's going to be one gear easier than last time. All right, 40 seconds, and then we go our last minute of work. All right, so 20 seconds. My focus going into it has to first be on cadence. I got to nail my cadence right after that. And then use my gears to hit my goal without dropping my cadence. Going in 3, 2, 1, last minute. So right now what I'm doing is I'm oscillating between 90 and 92 cadence. When my cadence drops to 90, I go to easier gear, bring my cadence up, and then if my cadence starts to get, I have it on average, it starts to get to 92, then I'll go to a harder gear. At the same time, I'm looking at my power. All right, minute. Whew. Almost lost track of a minute. All right, minute 30 recovery. Great job, everybody. Man, and just like that, we've got 6 minutes left. Oh, wow. So one way that you can see what's called virtual power fairly inexpensively, if you have, say, like a Garmin speed and cadence sensor, and then you need an Ant Plus port, but there's the software apps like Zwift and Ruby where they can create virtual power numbers from your speed and your cadence. So it's a way of taking like a non-smart trainer and using it. Those apps, Ruby and Zwift, are like 10, 15 bucks a month. If you didn't own a Garmin speed cadence sensor and you didn't own an Ant Plus dongle, that could be 80 bucks, right? So it isn't necessarily cheap, but compared to, say, power meter pedals, 600-800 bucks, maybe a power meter crank, 400 or 500 bucks. It's all relative. If you enjoy training with power, then it could be worth looking at like a pair of power meter cranks. Essentially, the crank is what your pedal attaches to. You're essentially replacing your crank on your bike. When you only have one bike that you ride primarily, a crank-based power meter is a good way to go. If you have, say you have a road bike and you have a tri-bike, pedals can sometimes be a good way to go because then you can move pedal really easily from bike to bike. You're not going to be moving a crank from bike to bike easily, even if you were a really good bike mechanic. Very infrequently would they do that. But pedals, you can remove pedals with very little mechanical skills in 5-10 minutes. So it just depends. The one thing that's interesting is power is much easier to control riding inside. So a lot of times it's more useful inside. Because when you're riding outside, as soon as you go downhill, your power numbers are going to drop because there's not that much tension on the pedals. And when you're going uphill, your power numbers are just going to naturally go way up. So when you're riding outside, let's say you're doing like 5-minute blocks of effort, it's good to see your power. It's definitely harder to control. So in many ways, power is most useful riding inside. In a triathlon, power can be very helpful because it's a very accurate gauge of how much effort you're putting out. If you're riding into a wind and you're trying to hit a certain number of watts, because that's based on what you can then get off the bike and run well. Well, in that wind, you might be hitting those watts, but your speed will be way down, as opposed to trying to do the race just by speed. And you're trying to be at that speed, but it's windy, and so you exert more effort than you should. So in a time trial setting like a triathlon where no stop signs, where you can maintain consistency in your cycling, a power meter on your bike is more effective oftentimes than training, but it's still useful. So anyway, that's that. Kind of just depends on your budget and how into numbers you are. But like for me right now, I have power meter pedals, so all my power is just coming from my pedals, and I see it on my Garmin. So it kind of allows me to have what's considered a dumb trainer, not a non-smart trainer, and still ride with power just through using my pedals. So there's lots of different ways to go at it. So what do we got? We got another minute. Easy. Hi, Christine. It says me. Probably something I said half an hour ago. Anyway, I hope you guys had a great ride. That was good. It was tough. It's good to get that mixed intensity. And the great thing about these rides that I've been feeling, I'm sure you're feeling it too, is nice. I was happy about the last set. Yes. The rest of your day, I think when you get a good workout in early in the day, you sort of have that feeling of accomplishment. And the rest of the day just, I think, feels a little bit easier. You got your work out of the way. Whew. All right, 10 seconds, and then I'm getting off and going about my day. Thanks for joining in. It's good to see you guys again. I see the numbers of who's here. Figure it's the same people. So anyway, thanks so much, Christine. Good to see you. Have a great day.